John, we saw both ends of the spectrum last weekend. What is your expectation of this team without Bryce Cotton at this point?
Hopefully somewhere in between or closer to what you guys saw against Illawarra. When you're without significant contributors to your team and you play youth, there's going to be an ebb and flow to it until they get the experience and understanding of what it takes every day to create championship or winning habits.
Bryce is due back hopefully in a couple of weeks, but even if he weren't to get back straight away, would you expect this team to qualify for finals if Bryce was out for a longer period of time?
Oh, of course, that's always our goal, and in any sporting team, every person wants an opportunity to perform at the highest level. And as we've seen this year, we've just had injuries that have hindered a number of guys throughout the season so far, but the opportunity that's been afforded to a lot of the other rosters should only really help us as we head towards playoffs and the end of the season.
So with those injuries, like you haven't had your full roster together for really, I think it's one game you might have had.
Yep.
Bryce got hurt 2 minutes in for one of them. How impactful has that been on your ability to know what this group can do and coach them with what roles they've got on game day?
Like the coaching aspect of it, like game planning may change a little bit, but as far as coaching guys on a day-to-day, it's always about us. It's always about how we perform and living in the moment and getting better each day. So that, from that standpoint, it doesn't change. What changes is the opportunity to guys and them understanding what it takes every day to be at an MVP caliber type player.
Is it hard for them to gel with the amount of changes you've had to make to both the starting five and the blokes you would normally put on the floor together because someone is suddenly unavailable?
What I would say about this group is that they've done very well with that now. Rewind to preseason when we were Japan, NBL 1 games, Blitz. This was a little bit of a thing with our roster because, as you said, we haven't played with our full roster in maybe 1 or 2 games. So this has been a dynamic. Now, sometimes the pieces don't quite look as complete as they do need to be, like against Southeast, like our first quarter. Like we were caught searching there in the first quarter with our application to what was required to go on the road. So that's sport, that's our team right now, the opportunities that are afforded to everyone. And if we do truly have championship aspirations, good teams just find a way no matter what is put in front of them.
Have you done any investigations into whether there is a trend about why blokes are getting hurt? They're all different parts of the body, so it's not like they're all soft tissue or anything, but is there anything you look into as to why you haven't been able to get everyone healthy?
What I'm more curious about is if you look across the league, there's a lot of high-level performers that are missing games early on in the season. So that's where I go because every team is dealing with what we're dealing with. So that's where I look to see how can we be different so it doesn't happen to us.
Is that a scheduling thing or is it a bad luck thing, you reckon?
I have no idea. I'm not that smart.
So how can you be different to everyone else then?
Like you try and do as much research and see how other people go about their day-to-day, their week-to-week, pre-season, and then you have to make subtle changes. And those changes mightn't be today or tomorrow because you have to be game enough to go away from the herd. But it is, like I am very mindful across the league, a lot of high-level players are missing due to injuries. So I do think there's something there. What it is, I'm not sure.
You said it was the game on Sunday would have been a good learning experience for the younger players, but you've still got quite a lot of experience in your side, like Doolittle and Keanu and Ty and stuff. How much do you sort of lean on them to help those younger guys find consistency, because that's what you're searching for?
Well, look, you rely on them every day, and as I say quite often, we get evaluated on game night, but the way they approach those guys during the week to give them the confidence and the understanding of what we're trying to do is huge. And that's where guys like Ty and Keanu in particular I've seen tremendous growth in their time with the club. I don't think when they come to the club anyone would be expecting that type of thing from them, where it's great to see like a Ty talking to a Henschel or a Pepper and Keanu and Etan, like you guys come into practice enough where you see those guys coexisting and they're doing a great job helping those guys along the way.
And I guess on the counter to that is how do you get the younger guys not to ride the waves of a great result against Illawarra and then also the depths of a pretty poor performance against the Phoenix? How do you talk to them about finding that consistency?
Like let's take Ben Henschel, great example. Like his first half against Illawarra is phenomenal, high level. And you guys ask me when Bryce is in the zone, what do? I step back, because when a player is in that rhythm, you just need to watch and admire. You talk about Southeast. There was one time, I believe third quarter, I subbed Ben out of the game. And I just try to pull him to the side and give him some advice. When things aren't going your way when you're young, you try to press it, because you think by pressing that gets you out of that moment where sometimes you just have to utilize the strengths of your teammates so you can find the rhythm. So that's where I try and use my experience in that game-like manner, where I pull them out, and when I'm using Ben as an example, but that's Elijah, Etan, Dave Aquera, and the young Michael Harris. Get your thoughts back together. You'll go back out there and play, but don't have to make a home run play. Let the game come to you and just find ways to contribute, so then your confidence comes back, and then once you're confident, great things can happen.
John, the Jack Jumpers were restricted to 60 points in their last outing. What do you make of that, and what do you expect from them?
Oh, they're the defending champions, so they're going to come in. They're not playing at the level that they would want to be playing, so I'm expecting it to be like a scrappy dogfight type of game, because in a way, kind of like us, they're just battling through some things. Like Will Magnay didn't play for them last game. So we're all dealing with our own problems. So that's where I come back, and we have to worry about us more than we worry about Tassie, because if we come out with the spunk that we played with at RAC last time, we're a very good team.
You've played nearly everyone throughout most games lately.
Yep.
There was a time in the past where you've gone on just cutting it back and sticking to 6 or 7 guys and trying to work through our troughs in that way. What's your thought process on whether you go with a small number or whether you just keep rotating through the big numbers at the moment?
Oh, well, like right now, injury determines and dictates a little bit of that. And, when you have Windler and Ty Webster, trying to get back to 100% conditioning, there's a bit of science and art behind that. So we got a few things that we're working through. So when we do get to the pointy end of the season, we're functioning at the level we want to function at. Are they both
unrestricted this week, or do you have some still times where you're not allowed to put them out there?
Time restrictions. I'm mindful of how I want to play them, because it's a marathon, not a sprint. And they've both been dealing with just kind of niggly injuries through the first part of this season. So I want to make sure they're operating, and we don't want to relapse with those guys.
Is Jesse okay? We didn't see him there, and he was complaining on the coverage when he was mic'd up of having a back problem.
Jesse's fine. He must have celebrated last week too heavily.
John, do you expect Dylan back this week?
Yes, he practiced today. Yeah, absolutely.
Word on bloke you coached, Luke Travers? We didn't get that chance.
Sorry?
Word on a bloke you coached, Luke Travers, making with his debut in the NBA. We didn't get to ask you about the post game because it wasn't really appropriate for him, given you just been belted. So, did you watch it on Saturday morning?
No. I was very aware of his situation. Talking about Luke Travers and his journey to the NBA, and the time that I was around him, he never seemed to be in a hurry to get there. I think he had somewhat of a plan where he wanted to feel like once he got there, he was going to utilize that, where you've seen guys just want to rush there to say they've made it to the NBA, and then a hot minute later they're looking for another job somewhere else, where I think he's had a great approach to making sure when he does get the opportunity, he can make the most of it.
2 games on the weekend where you conceded 100 points.
Uh-huh.
You win one, you lose one. That doesn't seem like a particularly sustainable way of winning games. And I know you don't have Bryce, but on the defensive end, is that something that you need to sort of tighten up now going forwards?
I got asked this question yesterday, and the way I approach and my mentality to this, some games dictate a good flow and a good pace. You can certainly look at the Illawarra game where the pace and the flow was advantageous for us, especially the way we're playing offensively. So I want to keep with the rhythm and the pace of the game. Southeast, it was a nice pace, and if you watch with my eyes in the first and second quarters, there were many moments where we could have seized the game back into our favor on the scoreboard. We didn't make the most of those opportunities. So then it does look like our defense is struggling and so forth. And look, we addressed some of those moments in the first quarter, especially at film this week. And that's it just compounds when the ball doesn't go through and you're lapsing on the defensive end. So do I want to give up that amount of points? Absolutely not. But sometimes the opposition and the pace of the game we want to play at will dictate the points that are put on the scoreboard.
Does that come down to a little bit of in-game experience from some players to sort of assess, you maybe not shooting as well as you could, so therefore you need to slow the tempo of the game down? Is that something that you think the players need to get a bit better at?
In experience in general, we can talk about the offensive end and understanding shot selection and the right time, the wrong time, but then also at the defensive end when you're a 19, 20-year-old going against someone that's played at this level for 10 years and they're used to playing, because they played in the same scenario Friday, Sunday, but they're used to that. They've got miles on their tires in understanding how to handle the quick turnarounds and all of that stuff. So that's where when I watch Southeast, you're disappointed with some of the play, especially in the first quarter. But those guys have to experience it. Like we're playing Ben Henschel and Elijah Pepper as starting guards on our roster. Like I don't think any other team is rolling out with, let alone 2 Australian-born players, but 2 youthful players. So they have to understand and learn and feel all of that before we can expect growth in a moment like that.